Live.
Okay. Good evening. Oh my gosh. Got one. Let's try that again. Good evening.
Good evening.
Oh, I guess if you're in the woods looking for creatures, you probably don't want to be shouting good evening too loudly. Welcome to the 2024 Ohio Cryptids Summer Reading Lecture Series. Thank you all for coming tonight. For those of you who are new here, I'm Aaron Rothenbuehler. I'm the director of the library. I just have a few quick announcements before we get started here. How many of you are new to our library? Just one? All right. Well, if you don't know where the bathrooms are, if you go through the hallway, take a left and a left, bathrooms are down that hallway there. The library does close at 7 p.m., so we will have to lock the doors that lead upstairs, the double doors back there, but the elevators will still be available to leave if we go past 7, so don't worry about that. And then these programs are being live streamed, so if you want to watch them again, or if you can't make one of the ones in the future, we do live stream them on Facebook and YouTube, and then we'll put them on the library's webpage afterwards, so you can watch them again, or if you can't come to one of the other 4 in the series, you can watch them online. Okay, how many of you have registered for our summer reading program?
No, we didn't.
And how many of you haven't? Sorry, you all have to leave, only the registered people. Just joking, but if you do want to register for our summer reading program, there are registration sheets on the back there, and you will get points for attending these programs towards our summer reading finale, where you'll be able to use tickets for food and games and stuff. So there's an incentive to sign up, and if you read any books during the summer, there's no reason not to register for our summer reading program, and it's for ages 0 to 99, so no excuses, but you don't have to. You can all stay and listen to our lecture series without signing up. So again, thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for watching online. And just a few quick things about the summer reading program. Our programs for kids grades 1 through 6 are on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. We have story times for kids ages 3 to kindergarten on Fridays at 10:30 a.m. Upstairs, we have a self-guided scavenger hunt that changes every week, so you can do it week by week, and you get a point for each one of those. So you can earn up to 7 points doing the scavenger hunt, the 7 weeks of summer reading. Our friends at Belmont County Tourism will also have a Belmont County Bigfoot GPS Geo Tour. We have passports, and flyers, and they have these little geo coins back there. These are commemorative Belmont County coins. So those are all on the back table there. And if you complete that geo tour, it's all over Belmont County, and all of the little containers that you're looking for have a Bigfoot theme. But if you complete that, you'll get an extra ticket towards our summer reading finale, and then you can also turn that in with Belmont County Tourism for a trackable another one of these coins that's actually trackable. So that the information is on that back table there. Next week, at June 12th at 6 p.m., I hope you'll join us again here. We'll be talking about Mothman. There will be no program on June 19th. We'll be closed for Juneteenth that Wednesday. But then the following Wednesday, June 26th at 6 p.m., we'll be talking about other Ohio cryptids. That's part 1. Part 2 will be July 10th. We won't have a program on the 5th because the 4th of July. And then our final program, July 17th, will be researching cryptids and making plaster castings. And our speaker tonight, Fred, has loaned us a couple of plaster castings, 2 feet and 1 palm. They're upstairs in our exhibit case, and if you didn't get a chance to see that before you came down to the program again, take a look at it before the Mothman program next week. They're pretty cool, and there's some information about other Ohio cryptids in the exhibit case too. Okay, enough announcements. Let me introduce our instructor for this lecture series. Fred Saluga. He's written more than one book, but this book, West Virginia's Paranormal Gateway. He's been investigating Bigfoot, UFOs, and other paranormal phenomena for over 50 years. He's a licensed private investigator in the state of West Virginia, Florida, and Pennsylvania. and he's a retired law enforcement officer and former chief of police of Fayette County, Pennsylvania. He currently serves as the state director of the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, in West Virginia, and the assistant state director of MUFON in Pennsylvania. He has investigated over 500 UFO cases and established MUFON's Humanoid Research Group, which oversees the investigation of humanoid beings reported as UFO occupants. He is also concurrently serving as the director of West Virginia's Center for Unexplained Events, an organization dedicated to investigating sightings of Bigfoot, cryptids, ghosts, and other anomalous entities. He's the director of the Fayette County, Pennsylvania Bigfoot Research Project, headquartered in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. Everybody please welcome Fred Saluga.
Okay, you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Let me get around the corner here. Okay, so she introduced me. I also will say a little bit more about myself. Not that I'm bragging, but I also teach classes down at Northern West Virginia Community College down there. I teach one in cryptozoology, I teach a class in ufology, and I'm going to teach a class next term on conspiracy research. That's pretty cool. Like you said, I've been involved in this for about 50 years. I did a lot of presentations on Bigfoot, a lot of presentations on UFOs. So, before we start, how many people have ever seen a Bigfoot? Anybody? Danny actually has a picture of a Bigfoot. If anybody wants to see it, I'm sure we'll show it to you.
I already
You
have.
got it? Huh?
I already have.
Yeah, well, other people. You got it down in Wetzel County. Are you familiar with Wetzel County? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Wetzel County's, it's Ohio Marshall Wetzel, right?
Right. So you got the pictures down there, so we'll go from there. Okay, so anyhow, this is a MUFON presentation. MUFON really does not believe that Bigfoot has anything to do with UFOs, but we tell them they're wrong. We believe Bigfoot is a member of the UFO language here, and we go from there. So, let's see here. Okay, Bigfoot files, Bigfoot area. All right, part one. Okay, most of us will permit, if you guys have got any questions, just put your hands up. I'm not one to wait until the end and then you talk. I'd rather you talk now. A lot of people forget one every 1 second. Because I know I do. If I'm sitting here and I gotta wait, I'm gonna say, no, what, I'm just going. You know, if you got something to say it. Okay. Most of us are familiar with the legends and stories of Bigfoot and Sasquatch, the mysterious hairy beasts who stalk the woodlands and mountains of our planet. Most countries and cultures have accounts of the legend of such a creature. Now, there's a Bigfoot on every continent. And you know what you find out what? You got the abominable snowman, you got the Yeti, a few other ones down there. Every continent has a Bigfoot, or a cousin of Bigfoot. Although claims to be that's the next slide, okay. Although claims of these creatures go back thousands of years, there's a moderate increase in sightings. Even mainstream scientists state that although unlikely, it would not be impossible for no known species of a hominid to go undetected for thousands of years. As our societies grow ever emerging into areas that might house such species, so do the reported sightings. We find a lot of sightings now, like say in the woods, they're building something, we get a lot of sightings from there, all right? I personally don't believe Bigfoot's been out in the woods for thousands of years. He's had to be seen by somebody. But if you really look at it, like, how many of you are hunting? all right? So I always hear hunters. Well, I'm out in the woods all the time, and I never seen no damn Bigfoot. I never seen no Bigfoot nothing. You're not looking for it. If you look down on the ground to see if you see any Bigfoot tracks, if you see any X's anywhere, if you see any stuff turned over, you don't look for that. So that's maybe why you don't know Bigfoot's out there. Yeah, he could be watching you and you don't even know it. Okay, so now, we got three main groups of Bigfoot researchers. We got group one, Bigfoot is a cryptozoological hominid creature either from the ape family or possibly a branch of the early human tree. We call these creatures the traditional Bigfoot. Group two, Bigfoot is an extraterrestrial in origin. Oftentimes, Bigfoot is encountered in areas rife with UFO activity. Reports state there is ample eyewitness evidence where a Bigfoot vanished right before their eyes as it slipped into another dimension. These creatures are called the interdimensional Bigfoot. The third theorizes that the traditional Bigfoot and interdimensional Bigfoot are in fact two different creatures, which that can very well be, all right? One other thing about Bigfoot. Back in '73, we started getting three-toed. Bigfoot, you got four-toed, five-toed, six-toed, and three-toed. Bigfoot. So you know there's something weird going on here. Right? Okay. Wow. Yeah, Fred, that's right. Yeah, okay. Okay, so how Bigfoot got his name? The name Bigfoot comes from a picture that ran in the California newspaper in 1958. Local resident Gerald Crew took a cast of a huge footprint he claimed belonged to Sasquatch. He made the discovery while walking in Bluff Creek in the northern part of the state. So Bigfoot was around for quite some time. If you look at Indian legends, you got any Native Americans in here? You gotta know it, man. I got invited, I just tell them, I just got invited to a reservation up in Canada for a week. You know, I always wanted to go to an Indian reservation. And I get invited up there to talk about Bigfoot and UFOs, you know, and it's like, wow, you know. But the Native Americans had Bigfoot stories from back in the 1600s, and we'll go into some of these along here. So let's look at some legends here. In 1847, while visiting Mount St. Helens, August Bell came received warnings he should stay clear of the whole area of local tribes. According to them, the mountain was inhabited by a race of beings of a different species who were cannibals. They referred to these creatures as skookums and indicated their presence was a supernatural experience as much as anything else. So here you go right now. You got back in 1847, they were talking about Bigfoot being supernatural. 1924, while staying in Hay Canyon, Fred Beck and his team were subject to rock thrown at their death. After managing to set out the incident, they found huge footprints in the mud around the ground the following morning. He ultimately believed the creatures that attacked the cabin that evening were from another dimension. Here we go again. Now, we got somebody that's discounting this right now. For some unknown reason, they waited until he died. And then they said, this is all bull. So why don't we say it before he died, you know? Right here, who knows about this one here? What's this Bigfoot's name right there? Anybody know? Patty. This is the famous Patterson-Gremlin film. Roger Patterson and Robert Gremlin, Gremlin still living. Two filmmakers embarked on retracing the set of Beck's team as they investigated the legend of Bigfoot. Shortly after 1 p.m. on October 20th, 1967, while traveling along the bank of Bluff Creek, Patterson took pictures of Bigfoot. This picture has never been debunked in any conclusive way, and what they captured on film that day is arguably the most famous piece of footage of Bigfoot creature in history. Now, a lot of people say this is not true, but like I say, they've had time how many people looked at this thing, filmmakers and everything else, and they said, yeah, it is true. Okay, Bigfoot around the world. Much like the upper northwest region of the United States of mountains, terrain, and Himalaya, many other regions of the world have similar clusters of sightings, and each have their own name and characteristics, although in reality these creatures are likely of the same or similar Bigfoot family. Skunk ape. How many ever heard of skunk ape? Down in Florida? Okay. And the small lands of Florida and Everglades with numerous sightings of skunk ape. While there have been sightings as far as Kentucky. While there is no doubting of similarities to Bigfoot creature most of us would like to farther up on our minds, the skunk ape is decidedly faster than Bigfoot and doesn't move in an upright stance. Like Bigfoot sightings, witnesses most often report an overpowering aroma. And we'll get to that too. Now, I lived in Florida for 40 years, and I was involved in some of the stuff down there, but I've never seen one. So. The Dewey Lake Monster. Another Bigfoot creature is the Dewey Lake Monster, or the Michigan Bigfoot, or the Sister Lake Sasquatch. Several sightings of the creature in the early 1960s near Dewey Lake would foretell that Bigfoot researchers descending on the area. However, despite intense searches, not only could they not locate the Dewey Lake Monster, they did not offer a reasonable explanation of what else the townfolk of dog wagon were seeing. Now, if there's any word spelled wrong here, I was drinking Coors that night, Coors Banquet, and I have to apologize. I mean, you never know what you're going to write down after you have it, too. And also the DUI stuff. I was drinking yours. Okay, Bigfoot around the world. Okay, legendary creature resides in Australian outback, known as the Yowie. This large entity dates back 100 years to the old traditional of the Aboriginal tribe. According to local legends, these creatures are anywhere between 6 to 12 feet tall and have an ape-like appearance. I was at a thing one time, and they got a place in Pennsylvania, a Bigfoot outpost, and he got a 10-foot Bigfoot there. And I mean, you're going to look up at him like that. I mean, I can imagine turning around and having this thing stand there looking down at me. I mean, it's like, oh, God. Although reports were relatively common in the 19th century and early 1900s, they are more sporadic today. However, they have continued throughout the 20th century, and several recent cases of salvage theft and bizarre sightings suggest that such creatures still patrol the bushlands of Australia. This is interesting here. Around the base and the sandy landscape of Mount Hippin in Japan, the regular sightings of the hippodon. Most descriptions of this creature are very similar to North American Bigfoot. What is interesting is the sightings of this creature seem to have started out of nowhere in the early 70s. Okay? Because of this sudden appearance, some researchers suggested the hippodon to be a member of the monkey family, even a person suffering the effects of the nuclear bomb dropped on Hiroshima during the World War II. And that's kind of interesting. Okay? And the thing is, in order to really prove any of this, we got to capture one. And guess what we're going to do with it? Yeah, myself don't want to see that. I don't feel that we should have to cut something open and kill it in order to find out what it is. I mean,
I find it strange that we don't ever hear or see droppings from the creatures either.
yeah, what?
Feces or droppings, any type of evidence of it eating.
Okay, let's tell you a little story about that real quick. So I'm at a Bigfoot conference, a couple months ago. And we had this young guy, he was going into this field maybe 6 or 7 months. And somebody said, well, what does Bigfoot eat? He said, well, he eats roadkill, he eats this, and he eats that. And he eats... But how do you know that? He said, well, we got scat. And everybody knows what scat is, right? I said, really? I said, now who was sitting there watching you take a scat?
Right.
I mean, a large buffalo Bigfoot is you're thinking it. I mean, I can't think of the word right now. We don't know what Bigfoot is. We don't know what he eats.
You imagine.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what he eats. I mean, I know people that see him and eat berries, but they say, okay, Bigfoot eats a deer. All right? I've never seen a deer stripped of its skin laying anywhere. Well, he eats its heart. Here's a dude, 700, 800 pounds, he's eating a heart or the liver, he's living off that. I doubt it very much.
Right.
So, again, when you're saying scat, you're getting something that you don't really know what it is. Okay? And when they test it, they don't know what it is. they'll say, oh yeah, we got this and there, but again, we don't really know. We can't say that. Okay?
Yeah, I was just thinking, if there's bears, there's evidence of bears.
Yeah.
If there's rabbits, there's evidence of rabbits. With the Bigfoot, we see it, but we don't have that excrement type of evidence.
Right.
And if we think it's a biological entity, then it's going to have excrement.
Well, see, a lot of people say he's a carnivore, and a lot of people say he ain't.
Yeah.
So, it depends on who you talk to, really. You've got so many different views of Bigfoot, it's a shame.
Yeah.
I mean, go to Bigfoot farms, and your head spins.
Yeah.
So anyhow, the next one will be the Billy Whack monster. One of the most bizarre and intriguing creatures that lurks in the abandoned Billy Whack Dairy Planet in California. The monster is morphed into a Yeti, if reports of more than an urban legend, as well as dirty white hair and razor sharp claws. The beast owns ram-like horns in its head. Some describe it as being half man, half sheep creature. Some say it's a secret government experiment at the end of the Second World War. Was the government attempting to create a super soldier by combining human DNA with an unknown beast? Sightings continue today, and allegedly only children can see it. Now, how many of you believe in my mind's off right now. Oh, shit. You got it. I'll think of it. What's the word there? I'll think of it. I can't think of the word. I just read something on the page. Okay. So here you're saying here DNA. I read, okay, with conform to it. All right. I just done a report in Morgantown, and I did another report in Pittsburgh, and I understand both of these people are supposed to be super soldiers, which is very interesting. Some of the stories they told us, and the one from Morgantown really interesting. So, frequency is the word I'm thinking of. Okay, so when you're looking at Bigfoot, is it possible that Bigfoot has a frequency that some of us can see and some of us can't? And I think that's one of the problems. A lot of people don't see Bigfoot. Because you're not around wavelengths in order to see them. Like, I've been doing this for 50 years, and I've never seen Bigfoot. And people tell me, really? Yeah, really, I have. I'm not going to say I get it, I didn't. But I think it's frequencies that happen involved in all of this. And vibrations. Okay, the Michigan, how many of you heard of Dogman? Wow, okay. The Michigan Dogman is a werewolf or werewolf-type creature first reported in 1887 in Rutherford County, Michigan, by two lumberjacks who told the creature he described as having a man's body and a dog's head. In her book, The Beast of Bray Road, Linda Godfrey compared the man-seen sighting to a similar creature sighted in Wisconsin, known as the Beast of Bray Road. Now, I just investigated another case, a abduction case, up in DuPois, Pennsylvania, Clinton County. And the guy's in a wheelchair. He's a truck driver. He broke both his legs. And he says, Fred, you ain't gonna believe this. I said, what? He said, we got dog man sightings up here. I said, no. He said, right down the road, man. As soon as my legs get better, I'm gonna call you up and you can stay up here the whole weekend. We'll go out and dog man. I don't really want to see a damn dog man myself. They can tell me all about it. I'll wait in the car. I don't mind Bigfoot. When I see something like this, I don't know. Okay. So what is Bigfoot? Bigfoot is a global mystery shrouded entity heavily discussed as a phenomenon related throughout time. Now this is why Bigfoot, we got a problem with it, okay? Some researchers believe Bigfoot is a primitive human species that lives alongside humans, so intelligent that it learned how to camouflage and hide itself easily. Bigfoot sightings seem to occur most where it's presumed the species would reside, in heavily forested areas. Unfortunately, it is important to note that these types of areas do not prove safe fossils, if any. Nobody's ever found any Bigfoot bones. Why is that? Well, the porcupines eat them. Really? I mean, come on. You should be able to find something if there was a Bigfoot around. Okay. The Giganticus. How many of you have heard Bigfoot called the Giganticus? All right? They proved it's a lie. There wasn't one. The gigantic piston walked on 4 legs on 2. Anyhow, the giant cousin of the orangutan is a primitive Asian ape and was presumed to be extinct. They were the largest primates to walk on Earth, being approximately 9 feet tall and weighing more than 1,000 pounds. A few questions were raised with hypotheses and leaking, one being that it's still uncertain that the giganticus walked upright, making the linking unlikely. Over the last year, they found out that that's true. It did not walk upright, so it wouldn't be Bigfoot. Another speculative theory is that this creature is actually a prehistoric species called the Neanderthals. It is widely believed that the Neanderthals and humans battled at one time. Eventually, the Neanderthals broke off and went into the forest to live. This happened 35,000 years ago, and the humans grew to become more civilized while they adapted to life in the forest. One of the problems here is the Neanderthals didn't grow bigger than 4 feet tall. So we have a problem there, all right? Is it possible that Bigfoot is a true indigenous species of planet Earth? This missing link bridges the evolutionary split between primates. This historical science of evolution contains many missing links. However, one of the most crucial is within our DNA. Was Bigfoot species indigenous to Earth and their DNA was combined with another to create humans? All right, so that they made us. We actually Bigfoot. Could this be the reason for the ARH negative blood stuff that how many got RH negative blood? Okay, that's called alien blood. You want a corona, or whatever they want to call that thing? People with RH negative blood, actually, the majority of them get it. They could actually be around a bunch of people that have what they call corona. Yeah, they could be around and they still wouldn't get it. I got it. That's the blood I got. So, okay, now, notice the giants. These beings were intrinsically woven into various sections in religion throughout history. These are especially chronicled in depth within the Book of Enoch, Ethiopian biblical text. The Nephilim were said to be the offspring of human women and the sons of God, the fallen angels, as they are sometimes referred to. Some of them believe that the Neanderthals were the product of the same scenario. So you see the pictures up there. Here we go. Extraterrestrial. See, alien down here telling them how to do something. I mean, it's a little gray guy. Also, this is Great Pride Month. Great Pride Month. Okay? We got this gray we put on a computer, and it says their month this month here. Okay. This theory is derived from ton of Bigfoot evidence related to Bigfoot that comes at the same time immediately following a UFO sighting. But not all UFO reports involve Bigfoot, a lot of the Bigfoot sightings involve UFOs. Typically, these solid cases seem to tell the same story. We've had a few. We have one down in Fayette County, Pennsylvania, where UFO landed, and gosh, they see 2 Bigfoot walking up to the side of the fence line. They shot 2 tracers at him, and then the third shot, they shot at him and put his hand up, like he was going to catch him, and gave out a yell, and the UFO just vanished. And this is recorded with the state police in Pennsylvania. There's another one. How many of you heard of Brescal up in Erie? There was a UFO landing up there, and Bigfoot came out up there. It was investigated by the police, Project Legal, and everybody else. So. Okay, shapeshifter. Let me know what a shapeshifter is. I bet you don't. You really want to know what a shapeshifter is?
Sure.
A Democrat that turns Republican tonight. Or office, whatever way you want to look at it. Okay. So Native American legends are often cited as Bigfoot theories, mixing ideas from both physical and spiritual worlds. Shapeshifting directly correlates to the Navajo skinwalker legend, the belief that the medicine man was which attained the highest level of priesthood, that chose to use their powers for evil. How many of you watch
Skinwalker Ranch.
Skinwalker Ranch? Okay? I don't. It's like I don't watch Finding Bigfoot. Because when they find the answer, the show's over. okay? I'd rather not watch it because they're never gonna find the answer. Every week you'll be watching it, and then you're gonna see what's happening. But they did, Stillwater when Bigelow had it, it was interesting where when they first went on there, how many of you heard of Robert Bigelow? Okay? So Bigelow had the federal government come in and investigate it. Everything that was reported then is actually right now, you can't get a copy of it. They shot a wolf. And when he went to look at the wolf, it was actually a human being. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on out there. But I'd like to go out there one day. Maybe someday, 75 now. Maybe the next 10 years I'll get out there, I don't know. Okay. Bigfoot and the paranormal research believes creature has the power of traveling between dimensions. That's quite possibly the form we see is not a true form. Due to the incredible number of similarities between paranormal experience and ghost tellings and Bigfoot, it may be possible Bigfoot is interdimensional. And I believe that. I believe Bigfoot's interdimensional. And we'll go into that later on. I mean, there's some good evidence of that. But again, I can be wrong. And everybody has their own view. And I don't try to change anybody's view. That's not up to me, that's up to them. So. Bigfoot, physical or spiritual creature. Bigfoot is a spiritual being, a supernatural entity. Is yet another possibility of the explanation for Bigfoot. For example, there are such things as elementals. Elementals are spirit entities falling under one of the four element categories: earth, water, fire, and air. If that is the case with Bigfoot, this type of creature would be considered an earth spirit focused on the nature of the forest. How many of you heard of Nick? Yeah, I can't think right. My name is Nick. He does a lot of investigations. He writes books and everything.
Nick Pope?
No, the other Nick. Nick,
England?
okay. Anyhow, he said that he was out in the Redwood Forest. There's a story about the Redwood Forest. The lady was out there, and she was walking the dog. And all of a sudden, the dog stopped. It wouldn't move. And she's looking down at the dog, raising all kinds of particular, what was the dog? And she turned and looked, and she said she seen a saber-toothed tiger. And she said, my God, they've been around for thousands of years. And she said she knew it was a saber-toothed tiger because of the two teeth that came down. If she looked at it, it didn't have no claws. Then it didn't have no legs. It just actually disintegrated right in front of her. So could that be a Bigfoot? I mean, you see a creature from thousands of years ago? I don't know. Okay. Figment of our imagination. And I believe this happens with many people. It's a figment of their imagination. You got somebody, I've been Bigfooting now, like I said, for 50 years. And I know a lot of people in Bigfooting for many years we never see anything. I know people that join a Bigfoot group in Ohio have more damn Bigfoot groups than Santa Claus got toys. All right? And within 3 weeks, oh my God, I've seen a Bigfoot. I know a guy that joined our group in Uniontown. He was scared, he couldn't go to sleep at night, he said, because he seen Bigfoot. He said Bigfoot was going to come and get him. Within 3 weeks, he was actually smoking a cigarette, and Bigfoot was standing there with him. I mean, come on. I mean, really? But of course, a lot of people believe that. Okay. Of course, most scientists throughout time have discounted the existence of Bigfoot or Sasquatch. They consider it to be a combination of misidentification, myth, folklore, hoax, rather than actual living humanoids. This is obviously due to the lack of physical evidence after hundreds of years of investigation. Never mind the large numbers of these creatures that would be necessary to maintain a population through breeding. So how many Bigfoot would you think we have in the United States right now? Huh?
A couple hundred.
Give me numbers, somebody. More what? No, no,
300 and something.
they say there's about 50 to 75,000 Bigfoot in the United States. Huh? That's on the East Coast and the West Coast. Okay, now, the government. How many of you believe everything the government says? Come on, what's the hand there? I mean, Okay, the government did an exclusive Bigfoot, they did a thing out west. And then Bigfoot gets official recognition by the U.S. Army. Back in 1975, they did a thing and they said there was a Bigfoot, the Army. Now they say they were just kidding around and this thing is Bigfoot, they did that just to, fool people. Typical government, right? They lie about everything. Okay, Bigfoot map. Now, you can see the west coast and the east coast. Okay? Right here. You can see there's more on the east coast than the west coast. Look.
15 years ago, all of it was on the west coast, now it's on the east coast.
It wasn't 15 years ago, maybe 30, 40 years ago. When you had 73, when we had the big thing out here, we started really getting here. I don't know. If I knew, I wouldn't be here. I'd be out giving presentations throughout the world, like I go to Germany. I really got involved in this. Back when I was a kid, I had to be about maybe 7 or 8 years old. I lived in a place called Ellison, Pennsylvania. Anybody ever heard of Uniontown, PA? Close to Uniontown. And there used to be a Bigfoot in the woods up there. He used to chase people. And you could hear him at nighttime. What the hell? And after I really got involved, people would say, that damn thing you chased me through the woods. This hairy monster up there, People tried to shoot him, but they couldn't do nothing with him, so I don't know. But I've been looking for him ever since, and they ain't found him. I always say when I die, I'm going up. Okay? But I ain't gonna go all the way up, or put me in the middle. And he put me in this room. Nothing in this room but a table and chairs. And I'm sitting there, and then walks Mothman. And then walks the lizard man. And then walks another cryptid. And then walks the devil monkey. And all of a sudden, Bigfoot walks in. And he looks at me and says, you came this damn close. Oh, then I said, this I see him. Okay, here we go right here again. Okay, this is Patty walking. Okay. Now, this is what Bigfoot's face looks like. If you look down to the last row, the one in the middle, he looks like my cousin. Really, he does. Honest to God, he looks just like my cousin. I tried to get him to go out Bigfoot with him, but he didn't want to go. I didn't give him a suit. We got a suit we can give him. He said no. But you can see, they actually look like us a lot. All right? They got some more facial features. But, okay, here we go. Bigfoot and high strangeness. He's looking up at the UFO. My man. There are those that say Bigfoot is high strangeness. Saying Bigfoot is high strangeness is redundant. I don't understand what that means. I never did, and I didn't want to try to explain it. For those that say Bigfoot is high strangeness, it's high strangeness. When it comes to encounter of Bigfoot and UFOs, telepathy, telepathic communication with Bigfoot restores the Bigfoot appearing and disappearing by locating. The majority of UFO and Bigfoot research has done one nothing to do with it. Okay, BFR, Bigfoot Research Project. If they, I don't know now, but if they used to get a Bigfoot reported, and they had a UFO reporting with it, they wouldn't take it. The same with MUFON. MUFON got a UFO report, there was a Bigfoot attached to it, they wouldn't take it. They said it was a lie. But I think now MUFON looks at it a little bit differently. So, and I don't know, I haven't talked to Matt Moneymaker for 5 years, so I don't know what they're doing now. The culmination causes great gnashing of teeth at the very least. Serious flesh and blood research was done Bigfoot with the subject. Many of Bigfoot online forums picked off members who even bring up the topic, and that's true. There's a place in Pennsylvania, one of the groups in PA, if you start what they call it woo, the paranormal Bigfoot is woo. If you start talking about woo, she will kick you off her page. So I'll write her a letter and say, sorry, I gotta go. I believe Bigfoot is interdimensional. And she'll say, Fred, I don't want you leaving. You could say, just don't be talking about Bigfoot being rude, please, that's okay, whatever. Okay, here you go, here's spook lights, I bet you heard spook lights. Okay, we're seeing more and more spook lights now. We're seeing green, red, blue lights coming out of the woods, and then a Bigfoot will come out after it, which is really interesting. While correlation between Bigfoot and spook lights in the woods has not yet been proven, it brings to our attention legends of Bigfoot sighting can use infrasound and mind control and appear and disappear at will. Spook lights in the woods look like a lantern light, do others like a word combination contain light. If changed, they tend to disappear, move on, or lead people deeper into the woods. Some favor the lights, attempt to engage with them and appear intelligent. Now, how many of you ever heard 411 missing?
Say that again, what is it?
411 missing. Dead blinds, people missing in national parks and that. Yeah. A lot of them say that they find, say that they actually see them. But the majority of them, they're gone. That's a good presentation itself right there. And here, they found here the last year, wintertime. I think one case was in Georgia and one case was in Tennessee. 2 kids, one was 4 and one was 5. They left the house in the cold in the wintertime, and 3 or 4 days they were gone, and they were really starting to give up hope for them. And they come to you walking up the street. And said, where have you been? The bear had me. The bear took me to his house and he hugged me and kept me warm. Ain't no damn bear gonna keep nobody warm. I mean, come on, you know? So it had to be a big one. I don't want no bear keeping me warm. Okay. Here we go. Who let the squadrons out? So anyhow, what they say is, the Native Americans say that, and we have one guy that we know really good, he's an old guy, this is the way he talks. He goes, Sasquatch, come down and moon. Moon opens door, Sasquatch walks out. And they call them the crazy bears, all right? And they said this used to happen all the time. And the Native Americans were really cool with the Sasquatch and UFOs. They knew quite a bit about them. Then you have Bigfoot like space alien lands a flying saucer on an isolated mountain. He could have been mistaken for a gorilla except for the human-shaped body and face. Now this is interesting. Okay, UFOs and Bigfoot right here. This is the petrograph on the three kind of UFOs and Bigfoot together come from an 1888 meeting between cattle ranchers and a group of Native Americans in Northern California. The natives described 3 crazy bears that descended from the sky and the small moon, leaving them in the woods before taking off. And another thing with this was, one of the crazy bears that came down was actually helping the Indians. And he said one day in the cave, he told him he was dying, he wanted them to put him on a raft and put him out in the water and push the raft out, and his people was coming to get it. This is in the 1800s, all right? So they watched. They hid behind the bushes, they're checking it out, you know? And they said that the moon came down, a light came out of the water of the moon and actually picked him up and brought him into the moon. Now, how would they have known this back in the 1800s? I mean, you know, really. So, I believe. There's me and Bigfoot. I mean, can you imagine seeing something that big? Holy hell. Wow. Always said if I found a good female Bigfoot, I'd marry her. But could you imagine having Christmas dinner? Bring the whole family there? I mean, it'd be amazing. I mean, you know, we'd have to kill about, I don't know how many cows and pigs and goats. Okay, we already talked about this stuff here, so we can leave that out there. We can leave that out there, we talked about that. Okay, unusual suspects. Now this UFOs, back in the 1960s, you have a watcher, a gray, a brown, a praying mantis, a humanoid, and Bigfoot. This is what they said were the aliens back then, all right? Then, another says here 1974. You see a Bigfoot down there with the UFO over his head. All right? There's Mothman right there. He's on the second row. How many of you believe in the Mothman? Everybody? Wow. Mothman is nice creature. Okay. Okay, here we go with Patty again. We gotta show her all of that. So there's a multitude of live strange reported throughout the 1800s all the way up to the 21st century and beyond, which were totally ignored on numerous television documentaries about Bigfoot. These encounters cannot be denied by anyone who wants to seriously uncover this mystery. I've come to the following conclusions. Okay? Now, I'll tell you, how many of you have been on television? On a show where they ask you questions about like something like this? Okay. When they put you on there, they tell you what to say. And you can say, no, then we don't want you on there.
Right.
You either say what we tell you to say or you can leave the studio. Well, guess what? I don't go on television. I don't do podcasts because I say the way it is. They don't want to hear that. Everybody wants it. Oh my God, you can't say that on my podcast. Bigfoot is a Nephilim. No, he ain't. There was some secular thing here. We're off for now. We'll come back on if we can. Yeah, okay, whatever. Thank you, that more. Okay. Okay, Bigfoot. They have lost tracks across an open field in the snow was seen to stop nowhere. So let's look at a football field. You have a football field, you have a 10-yard line and a 10-yard line, right? You got 6 inches of snow. Here comes Bigfoot, 10-yard line. He's gone. Where did he come from and where did he go? I mean, how can that be? Okay, did somebody drop him and pick him up? They have been seen to shape-shift with other creatures. They say that they can be a wolf, they can actually be a tree stone. They have been shot at point blank range and disappeared and blinded with a white flash. How many of you heard of Stanley Gordon? Father, son, one of those. Stanley had a case of a lady up in mountains in Uniontown that there was a bunch of wild animals, dogs running around up there. So she put a bunch of empty cans on her porch. And one night she was watching television and all of a sudden she heard these cans rattling. So she grabbed a shotgun. She opened the door and there was Bigfoot standing there. Only thing she could see from here down. And she blasted him with the shotgun. And she said when she shot him, he just poof, and the white smoke and vanished. So again, I don't know how true that is, but that's what they said. They've been seen outside houses by people who experience poltergeist activities in the house. How many know what poltergeist is? Okay. Poltergeist is a noisy spirit that throws stuff around. It can be really dangerous sometimes. They've been seen entering and exiting UFOs. All right? They've been seen standing 10 to 12 feet tall. They've been seen materializing in the view and then dematerializing. That's wood there. Wow. Okay. They've been seen with trip clothing too small for their bodies hanging off of them. They've been seen covered in white, brown, gray, yellow, red, or black fur. They've been seen swimming across ponds beneath clear ice. They've been seen with pointed ears, protruding fangs, and glowing red eyes. They've been seen carrying clubs made from large tree branches. They've been seen with dead deer thrown over their shoulders. See, that's the food there, dead deer. What do they do with it? Okay?
And where do they go to the bathroom?
Huh?
And where do they go to the bathroom?
I hope behind the tree. Okay, I'm going behind the tree over here. Okay.
Is that what we hear?
Yeah. Maybe someday we'll be able to really figure that out. I don't know. Like I say, if you talk to other guys and they'll tell you, oh yeah, this is accurate. There is no scientific bull in Bigfoot. Bigfoot is speculation. That's the word I'm looking for. Everything about Bigfoot is speculation. We do not know what Bigfoot is, what he does, where he came from, and where he goes, okay? And anybody that says, how many people you hear say they're an expert? There's not an expert in this field. No, you're not an expert in this. Okay, pretend. But everybody wants to be an expert, and you can't be. I've heard people talk, and oh my God, yes, Jenny, I was out there, I seen that thing. And I tell you what, we had a guy, okay, dog man, I'll tell you the dog man. So this kid I know, he's actually on television with this story, which I couldn't believe. I know the kid. Okay, he's crazy as hell. Okay. He wintertime, he fell asleep in the snow. Can you imagine that? You're sitting on a rock and you fall asleep in the snow, freezing out there. He turns around, there was a dog man looking at him. The dog man was about 8 feet tall. Okay? This dude only stands about a yay high, and he looks like a matchstick. I mean, that's how skinny he is. The old man growled, and when he opened his mouth, this guy went and to punch him, don't laugh. And this went all the way down his throat. Really, all the way down his throat. And the old man passed out. Okay? And then the old man came up and opened his mouth and he pulled his hand back out and it stunk like hell. He said, good smell. And the old man growled again and he yelled off and he punched the old man in the head and the old man turned around running and yelling and screaming. They actually put this on television.
Wow.
I mean, this kid got paid for saying this. Now, this is what makes us look bad.
Right.
Okay? I mean, anybody with any common sense will know that didn't happen. But a lot of people are like, oh my God, he punched him. Yes, he did. I mean, I'd like to beat this guy. He stays in the house now. He didn't come out until somebody took off at him. Called the old man. Okay, they have seen carrying dogs and other large animals. They were running next to and keeping pace, driving a car down the highway. Bigfoot can run 35 miles an hour.
Right.
All right?
Okay. They have a case in, this is a good one here. Down in West by God, Virginia. Back in the days of the hippies, you all know what hippies are, right? Yep, we all know a hippie. Anyhow. So, hippies was going into the park. They had their Volkswagen bus. And then the guy following them had a Volkswagen. And guess what they had in the bus besides whatever? Had some good stuff to smoke. Okay, so they're going in there. They're going there to have their fun. And the guy driving the Volkswagen, his car starts going, and it stopped. And he looked to the side. There was a Bigfoot with his arms up. Bigfoot put his arms down and his car started back up again. This happened 2 times in that area that day. Now, that's kind of interesting. Okay. He's been seen digging with his hands into the ground in old graveyards. Bigfoot likes graveyards for some reason. He hangs around graveyards. And another thing, when we do a lot of investigations, we either have graveyards involved or Native Americans. And, you ask somebody, you say, when you're doing an investigation, well, are you Native American or you have a Native American? What do you want to know that for? Because most of our cases, they're Native Americans are involved in them. I had a lady who was a juvenile Bigfoot. Every time she would get her grandson on Sunday, a juvenile Bigfoot would come by. And I interviewed her and I said, you have any Native American blood in you? No, I don't. Nobody in our family. Mm-hmm. She called me up an hour later and said the kid's dad's part Cherokee. So how did you know that? Well, because most of the time it's Native Americans. I mean, they got something with them. Okay. They appear to be invincible to bullets. Now, not saying a bullet cannot bring down a Bigfoot. We have no body that a bullet brought one down. So until we see a body that one brought one down, we're not going to believe it. I'm an ex-police chief, all right? So I go with who, what, why, where, how, and whatever. I got to answer all these questions before I can say something happened, okay? And we don't have, and you hear people say, like the one kid says he shot the juvenile Bigfoot and he buried him. And then he went back to get him and he was gone. That's bullshit. Everybody wants to be on TV, you know? Okay, they appear to float than rather walking. A lot of people say they actually see Bigfoot float. He don't walk, he floats. They've been hit with vehicles and buses before standing up and walking away. Up in Mercer County, PA, bus hit a Bigfoot up there. We went up to the bus place to try to see the bus and they ran us out and told us don't come back. Happens all the time. They've been known to come around when they hear children playing. This is a good one here. How many of you know where Salt Fork is? State Park, okay. You know where the pine trees are? I don't know, Morgan's Knob or whatever it is. Okay, so this happened about 3 years ago. So, mommy, daddy, grandma, grandpa, a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old go on a hike. They're going to have hot dogs, hamburgers, and have a little picnic. So they get to the end of the trail up there, and they tell the kids, go head over the hill and you can play down there until, you know, everything's ready. So they go down. 10 minutes later, the 7-year-old and the 5-year-old come running up. Oh my God, there's a monster down there, screaming and yelling, carrying on like, you know, whatever. By the time they figured out what was going on with them two, oh my God, Susie's down here in the woods yet. So they take off running down in the woods. Little Susie sitting on a tree stump. Susie, are you all right? I asked him to play with me. He just walked away. Like, you know. So they like kids. They like women too. Yeah, oh yeah, they like women. Okay. They don't like men, but they like women. Okay. They've been known to smell like sulfur or rotten eggs. Bigfoot is occasionally sighted in relatively suburban areas, but not captured or killed. I ask you, how many people know where Uniontown is? Okay, Cornersville Street. Okay. That's one of the main streets there, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. A lot of people traveling that road. Bigfoot ran across the road, put his hand on a car and jumped over the car. Now, 20 people seen this. State police brought the helicopter and they couldn't find him. Okay, Bigfoot seems to take particular interest in women, especially menstruating women. Now, back in the day, the 60s and 70s, trailers, a lot of trailer courts around, right? So your window was like 8 feet off the ground. And there was a lot of women that would say they would get out of the shower and there was red eyes looking at him. Because he was 8 feet tall, he could look right in, you know? So they're kind of, you know, there's something wrong with the mirror too. I mean, you know. Bigfoot's main attraction seems to be trailer homes. Right there, yeah, okay. It appears that Bigfoot, UFOs, and other paranormal phenomena occurring next to microwave towers, high tension wires, nuclear power installations, hydroelectric dams, bodies of water, missile silos, railroad tracks, crossroads, most of these having some association with electric magnetic energy. Okay. What about the physical energy? Bigfoot must be rather robust to live in an environment with snow, heat, yellow fever, West Nile virus, COVID-19, and tons of waterborne illnesses and more. Yet we do not see a weak Bigfoot laying around on a forest ground coughing up a lung. Why are they so powerful immunity-wise? Okay. Possible signs of Bigfoot. How many of you live on a farm? All right, this is for you. Okay. Possible signs of Bigfoot activity. Sounds of knocking or clacking of rocks emanating from the nearby woods at night. Okay. You can hear that. And there's something going on. And today, though, again, you got people out in the woods, they do this just to pretend like they're Bigfoot, to make you think there's Bigfoot out there. You know, you got people, they mess everything up. So I remember back in the 60s and 70s, we heard that, we know there was a Bigfoot. Today, let's go out in the woods and collect stones, man. They'll think Bigfoot's out here. Yeah, okay, whatever. Children claiming someone is looking in at their windows at night. Children claiming that someone is watching or spying on them while they are playing. Distinct feeling of being watched while doing farm chores, tending stock or working or walking in the woods. The sound of footfalls that parallel your direction of travel as you are walking in the woods. How many of you go on the bike trails? Okay. You ride a bike or you walk? Huh? Bike? Okay, a lot of people that hike them, they say that they actually hear something walking alongside them, and they can't see nothing. If you normally go to the left, you'll see where you can see something was walking there, but they don't see anything. Suddenly very quiet in the woods, devoid of any unusual bird, critter, or bug sounds. If there's a Bigfoot around, there's no noise, nothing. It's dead silent. You can hear a pin drop. You know, we ran into that quite a bit. Sounds of breaking twigs, sticks, and branches. An unseen creature heard moving loudly through the woods. A very strong odor that resembles a combination of rotting garbage, a dead animal, or a person who has not showered for weeks. Sometimes also described as carrying a sulfur or rotten egg character. It can be strong enough to make one nauseous. They're saying now that actually Bigfoot's like a skunk. He can actually let this scent go if he feels he's endangered or he doesn't want to, make you feel bad. So you stink and you run. So, the sounds of something moving outside your window at night, a chilly feeling that something's out there that may awaken you abruptly from a deep sleep. Okay. Farmers, missing livestock. Mutilated livestock missing specific organs, especially the liver. Livestock cages have been carefully opened and animals removed. Missing horse grain. Now, we go down to Wetzel County, down to the state game lands down there quite a bit. We go like 3 or 4 miles back in the woods, and they got a store down there. So we stopped at this country store, and we're dirty, The lady says, "Oh, you guys are out looking for Bigfoot." Yeah, she says, my mother used to chase him with a broom and hit him in a, you know what? Because he used to steal the horse grain. I thought, well, that's nice. Your mother's still living. I'd love to talk to her. No, she died. Okay. Missing food from outdoor freezers. Missing smoked meat or fish from the smokehouse. Missing fruit from ripening fruit trees. Missing vegetables from the garden. Okay. Dead wild animals or livestock found in nearby woods. Dead animals found in improbable places. Now, they have found deers 15 feet up in a tree. However they got there, I don't know. I don't think a Bigfoot would take them up there. Big bare footprints found in the mud. Piles of bones and feathers neatly placed. Dead animals that have practically or completely skinned without the benefit of sharp tools. Very large animal feces piles found on property in the nearby woods. Electric fence wire that has been torn down. Bent or twisted trees. Okay, you see how this tree's bent? It's not broke this way, it's twisted. And it would take a lot of power to twist that tree like that. Camping cookware that has been strewn about. Rent gates that do not have the look or vehicle damage. Damage to house siding or window trim. Twist off small trees with tops that have been bent. Twisted or broken about 7 feet above the ground. Now, how many of you have some kind of fruit tree or something in your yard? Okay, so if you're thinking Bigfoot's taking food, your apples, say, where would you look at it? Where?
Kitchen.
What'd she say?
Top.
Top. Okay, never look at the bottom. Always look up around 8 or 9 feet, because they can get them up there and nobody thinks they're taking it from up there. And if they're taking them, you'll find it's all empty up there and you got down here and then you got way on top. So, unusual howls or screams, often very loud, that are heard in the distance in the nearby woods. Extremely agitated nighttime behavior of farm dog. A dog, 9 out of 10 times, if a dog sees a Bigfoot or hears one coming, he will actually dig under the doghouse. They're extremely scared of dogs. Dogs are scared of screaming. Dogs are extremely scared of Bigfoot. Okay? Fearful reaction, usually after dark, by farm dogs that are otherwise aggressive. Horses become very agitated and may even break out of their pens at night. Knocking or scratching on the side of a house, and the sounds of stones hitting the roof at night. And that's that. Okay, now, I walk slow here, 75 years old. All right, we got a couple, VFR reports there. All right. Now, VFR only has 4 reports here, but I know there's been a hell of a lot more sightings in Belmont County than that. Okay, report 45215, 2014, Belmont County. North their end is Bethesda off State Route 147. All right. We live in a cabin just outside of town with a swampy bottom. We take lots of deer and trees. In 2010, we had my first experience with something very large. Unfortunately, I couldn't make out what it was, and it chased me through the woods. Okay? That's what he said. You guys had 4 active reports on VFR over there. Belmont County, 2020, Morristown. Anybody listening to Morristown? Okay. Last week, fishing couple reports moose, bipedal football, 3-4 showers while night fishing in Egypt Valley. I've been to Egypt Valley one time, and they said that's one haunted place, so I'm moving back up. I believe the ghosts, aliens, and cryptids are from the same tree with a different branch, because they all got the same power. Okay. Winter, 2018 January, Belmont County, St. Clairsville. Mid-September 2017, approximately 1 a.m. while taking a small dog out, I heard a scream that sounded like as if a woman was in some kind of trouble. It was very loud and blood-curdling. At the same time, I had a large dog in the yard. When she heard the screaming, she immediately ran out in the yard and went inside. I did not stay outside and went back in. Okay? And that's 3 reports. Anyhow, you go on Bigfoot Research Organization, and you can get these. Okay? Okay. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
What do you think of the theory that Bigfoot vocalizations are actually language?
Can you talk loud?
Sorry, there's a theory that Bigfoot vocalizations are actually a language. What's your view on that?
I believe it. I think they can talk to each other. A Bigfoot can actually sound like anything they want to sound like. They've actually had like trucks backing up. They've actually had a Bigfoot sound like that. But I think Bigfoot can actually confer with themselves. Ron Moorhead, he just wrote another book on that. It is kind of interesting. Yeah, I think they can talk to each other. Anybody else? No question.
What do you think their purpose is?
I have no idea.
I mean, you know, if you have the UFO, ufology background, do you think, I mean, you keep talking about how they're linked. Do you think that they're born of the planet and they're here, or do you think they were put here?
I think they're aliens.
Yeah.
And I think they're shapeshifters, and we may have one in here right now. Which is really interesting. Yes, ma'am.
So, if Bigfoot can, like, make different sounds, like, decide what it wants to sound like, could it almost sound like a human and have a conversation and,
Yeah,
like,
I believe it
make,
can.
like, almost, like, trick a person into
Yeah.
thinking it's another person, so they, like, go outside or
It
something?
can actually vocalize anything it hears.
Okay.
And, you know, we get out in the woods a lot of time. I used to go out in the woods quite a bit, but anymore, my dog doesn't want me laying on the ground, and I can't, so if I go out there and sleep in my car, try to get one of them tents now that's walking around, I can go out on it. But, yeah, they got the sound you can hear, I mean, it's like it's just gibberish. It's like,
you know, I don't know what they're saying, but I'm sure they do. I mean, again, you know, I really think that they've been here for quite some time. It's like to say, like, okay, so we see a Bigfoot, all right, and he runs into an area that he can't get out of, and you got 50 people looking for him. They can't find him.
Right.
Is it possible that he turned into one of us? A
Right.
human? And he's laughing and saying, look, these people looking for me, I'm standing here helping look for me. I mean, we have no idea what he is. I mean, that's the problem here. So, but, yes,
You want me to tell you, when we were camping several years ago up in Carrollton,
Mhm.
there was, you know, a lot of nighttime activity, bullfrogs, we were night fishing and stuff, so we didn't really sleep very well, but our friend had their lab with them, and all of a sudden the lab just started growling at the woods, and then we heard whooping sounds. And since then, we've had other little things that we are sure. Actually, I think one of those comments was from the one in St. Clairsville, our friend, right behind our friend's property. And so I joked with them saying you should put a cabin there and say you can go Bigfoot hunting and make some money. But I mean, we've even seen lights in the backyard that we're trying to actively right now trying to catch on camera. It's been an ongoing thing on and off for quite some time. And, you know, it's not easy to catch any physical evidence. So it is, you know, it is interesting. I mean, you're always looking for it, but we haven't found anything, but we've had experiences. I mean, we've had the experiences. It's just, you know, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I think they have more than that. Yeah, I mean.
About a minute and a half.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
You can't miss the Bigfoot. When he gets on the stream,
Yeah.
this thing will last for a minute.
We've heard a recording of one taking place down in outside of Clarington, just outside of Clarington, Ohio. Somebody caught it on their trail cam. They're trying to catch bears, and somebody heard sounds, and it was this. I mean, it gives you chills. It was terrifying. It was terrifying. Yeah.
Go on the computer and look for the Ohio howl.
Okay.
That's the big one.
Okay.
It lasts for about a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, something gotta have, you know, good, strong lungs or something like that.
Yeah.
When you're taking your accounts, people's accounts of their Bigfoots, are you like, do you guys consider maybe legends that might be instilled to protect property? You know, like I know like in California where the marijuana plants are, they would have this Bigfoot story to keep people out of their fields. And I know that other people might do that to protect the lands. They would come up with these horrific stories as a means of keeping people away. Do
We look into that, yeah.
you consider
I'll
that?
tell you what, I've been interviewing people. I'm 75. I was a boss since I was like 18. I'm a child abuse investigator. I worked in the federal prison, state prison. I worked on death row. And normally, if somebody bullshitted me, I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, so. And I don't really think so, because if there was a Bigfoot there and they're trying to keep you out, and they say they've seen a Bigfoot, people will go there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you say there's a big, if I go on Facebook right now and say there's a Bigfoot in the library in Bel Air, Ohio, I guarantee you there's 50 people here tomorrow looking around like, see, I'm sure they said there was one up there. Good.
My friend and I,
You guys got to talk loud, right? Before the minute.
my friend and I, we had gone walking in the woods one time, but it was where a farm was, so it was an enclosed area with a fence and everything, and there were cows in it. As we were walking, we smelled something pretty weird, so we still kept on walking, and then we'd found a cow dead with like sort of its chest more over here, ripped open, and I don't really see how coyotes could get into there because it was completely.
Well, they actually say that Bigfoot doesn't mess around with cows. Bigfoot don't want nothing to do with cows. There's a lot of stories to that, but I don't really want to discuss it in here. A couple of young people, so I'll just leave that one go. But anyhow, Bigfoot and cows get along pretty good. They're happy together. Okay, so next week, we're going to talk about Mothman. Okay, in the 1800s, there was a Mothman flying around Point Pleasant. There's a dog man sighting down there. The military said that the dog man, Mothman was actually special forces flying around with backpacks, scaring people. So we'll talk about quite a bit of stuff next week. So I appreciate you guys coming, and good night.